Welcome to In the Gap. I'm Catherine with the Estate Law Center, and the following is a collection of law articles using personal stories to explain the meaning and importance of estate planning. This is meant to be educational and does not establish an attorney-client relationship. Enjoy the following story. Boulders and streams and jumps, oh yes, parking straight ahead. How many times have you seen a road sign, felt the anticipation of finally ending up at your destination spot, and then once you've arrived, wished you could recapture the journey? Or maybe even scripted the chapters in a different manner? A few weeks ago, I found myself deep in the woods, moving at what felt like breakneck speed, with ravines to the left, a tight turn approaching on the right, and a fallen tree straight across the narrow dirt path. The scenario did not seem ideal for one who likes to remain in control, to plan for the foreseeable and the unforeseeable possibilities, and to guard against risk and liability. I was thankful, breathed an audible sigh of relief, and had a quick and very descriptive conversation with nobody but the trees, making me wonder what is heard in the forest when no one is listening, when I came upon a sign post on the bike path that read "Parking" in caps. The accompanying arrow gave the direction to the closest parking lot. My instinct was, get me there and fast. Wait a minute, not so fast, I cautioned myself as I held on tight to the handlebars of my mountain bike and tried to maneuver down the steep, rocky grade of the bike path. My son was nowhere in sight. As one of the bikers on the trail described, my, quote, flying son was now yards upon yards ahead of me. It was then apparent to me that after waiting patiently for me to catch up, and just moments before he took off again in a spurt of energy, my son had been sharing his story with me. I realized at that moment that no longer was I the storyteller of L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz with lions and tigers and bears, oh my son was now the storyteller. His version was boulders and streams and jumps, oh yes. Awesome parenting moment. The realization that my son was sharing a part of his world with me made me wish I had the ability to stop time. Precious time. How had time advanced so quickly that my story chapters were somewhat dimmed and his were rising to the forefront? As parents, we celebrate when our children grasp the tools to develop and tell of their own productive and exciting adventures, and hallelujah when they choose to share some of their storylines with us. Though the chapters of our lives may ebb and flow based upon our age, the needs of our family, our careers, our bucket list choices, and the audiences, the importance of what we share at two pinnacles of our lives seems to have an eternal effect. So, write wisely. The first is what we tell others by our actions and our words. That thought reminds me of the lyrics in a song by Sarah Groves, "Tent in the Center of Town." It goes, there's a tent in the center of town, and the people are losing their frowns because they think they'll go there and see lions and bears in the tent in the center of town. There's a tent in the center of town where the people can gather around who wouldn't step foot in a church, but who aren't afraid of a good news crusade in the tent in the center of town. I pray that as we reach out to others, our actions and words are not hindered, and that they tell the story of the Good News Crusade, helping to build a welcome to those in our community who are in varied levels of preparation. So many need someone to come alongside them as they adapt to the changing expectations and abilities, one who understands how special they are and who has a listening ear. We have an opportunity to communicate to others that they have something to contribute to our community. Second, what one leaves in writing for interpretation at the end of one's life often has the opportunity to tell a final story. As an estate planning attorney, I see so many variations of wills and trust, each reflective of what has transpired during the testator's or grantor's life. Often family relationships are harmonious, giving joy to the testator or grantor in the writing of a will and or a trust. There are times when relations may be acrimonious, and the drafting reflects those situations. I encourage others to memorialize their intentions for their assets. If one does not, they may not be able to script their estate story the way they intend, and their assets will be distributed as set forth by the Commonwealth. If you are anticipating a perfect ending as you see it and controlled by you, whether that means you have wonderful family relationships, strained family relationships, or no relationships at all, I encourage you to plan ahead. Write as many incredible chapters as you can throughout life and prepare for a last chapter that is reflective of your story, perhaps considering it a sequel at arm's length. It is my hope that this story resonates with you. The Estate Law Center serves clients throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia in the practice areas that touch most of our lives: estate planning, elder law, and business law. The motto of the Estate Law Center is protecting the stewardship of your God-given assets. Enjoy additional articles read from In the Gap, and for more information, please visit estatelawcenter.com. I leave you with this, and the following comes from my heart. We must protect those who are not able to speak for themselves. We must protect our neighbor who has been wronged by another. We must reach out to the elderly who may be overwhelmed by a vast system of laws. We must act boldly when others may be caused to be weak and use the protective arm of the law to guard against the trampling of individual liberties. Thank you for joining this segment of In the Gap.